Well, I'll tell you what, Pittsburgh Steelers, I thought were good. Trying to make a toe.
They are good.
Yeah, I don't have
work.
it. Didn't work. So here's the deal, guys.
There wasn't any analogy at all.
No, there wasn't. So the Eagles whipped them, guys. They flat out whipped them, and they answered the bell. You know, it was a lot of turmoil going on last week, obviously, and the Eagles really responded, and in doing so, get their 10th straight win, which is ridiculous. Team record. Congratulations to them. Look, we'll take your phone calls today at 215-592-9494. I mean, there's a lot of ways you can go for a headline. I'll go with this one. I thought the Eagles took a massive step yesterday toward the Super Bowl. I really did. Now, there's a lot of reasons for that. Obviously, Detroit losing helps. But the Eagles so thoroughly whipping the Steelers further emboldens, I'm sure, most of us for belief in this football team. But they also did something that was really, really, really important. They rallied through adversity instead of crumbling from adversity. You know, Jalen Hurts was sensational yesterday. The team on both sides of the ball were exceptional. I mean, the defense obviously stood up early when there's some bad field position situations, and they just can't. I mean, Pittsburgh wasn't getting anywhere. And if you want to talk about a dominating performance, I don't know how many people are aware of this, because you can look at all sorts of statistical realities with this game. And, you know, we don't often go too deep into the stats because it just gets a little mundane. But one thing that's an incredible fact from yesterday, Pittsburgh Steelers only had the ball twice in the second half.
It's insane.
Less than 6 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, they had 11 plays. Like, the Pittsburgh Steelers ran 11 plays in the second half. 11 plays. They had the ball 2 times. Obviously, this is a classic game where the Eagles outplayed Pittsburgh more, I'd say much more, than the final score indicated, because, of course, the Eagles could have gone down there and scored in the end. So, look, credit to Jalen, credit to AJ, credit to Nick Sirianni, credit to the defense. 10-game winning streak's a beautiful thing. We'll take your phone calls, 215-592-9494. They were really, really, really great yesterday. John, your thoughts?
The numbers will look amazing. The team did everything to quiet the doubters like you and you and you. And I don't know what else they need to do.
I don't know what you're talking about, dude.
I don't know what else.
I picked him to cover. I don't know what you're talking about.
What else
I picked him
they
to cover.
have to do. I don't know what else they have to do to prove what they said after the game, which was, we don't have to do to prove that we can do. I don't remember the quote exactly the way Jalen put it out there, but it really does. It really does. It makes Jalen look the way he's supposed to look in your eyes, I guess.
No, he was great. That's the Jalen. Here's the.
My question for you is that what you were looking for all along? And that was his question for everyone as he sat down last night.
It was more than I expected. Here's what I'll say. That's the Jalen Hurts that can lead the Eagles to the Super Bowl, not be taken there by the rest of the team where they're better than he is. But he was phenomenal yesterday. We know it's in there. We've seen him do it. And yesterday, he obviously played one of the best games he's played all season. It was phenomenal. I mean, he was much crisper, and he was crisper earlier, and he got in a rhythm early, and for the most part, stayed in that rhythm. I mean, he was fantastic.
So does that push him to where we can stop saying, I don't know if he's the guy anymore. I don't know if he's the guy for us. I don't know if Jalen Hurts is going to get it done
I think
2 years down the road.
Yeah.
Jalen Hurts is a young and dynamic and exciting quarterback who keeps exploding at times, like yesterday. That was an explosion of offense.
At times, that key phrase there. Look, here's the deal. I mean, I know, Jen, you're going to try to back me down into a corner. You're not going to effectively do it today. Jalen played one of his best games of the year yesterday. It's awesome. It shows it's there. That's what we hope he does more often. Period, right?
Yes. I hope he does it more often also. But yeah. I want something to coalesce here. And I think it's an acknowledgement that Jalen is our guy.
Well, I know he's the guy. The question is whether he'll be the guy long term. That is all still to be determined. Yesterday, he took a big step in saying, this is my team that I should be the quarterback of for a long, long time. I mean, of course he did. He was phenomenal yesterday. We'll see if he maintains it.
I just think he is phenomenal. And look, there are times where it's down. There are times where it doesn't look quite as good as yesterday. Because yesterday really is outstanding above outstanding.
I agree.
But Jalen can continue to grow and improve on yesterday. And that's what we all expect in a grand scheme. I thought after the game when they talked about watering it here, watering it there, how they had been growing the rushing attack part of the offense more than the passing attack part of the offense. For me, and I know this sounds weird, Joe, for me it really rings true as a football player, because for me, in a microcosm, my career went from being the guy who caught passes and ran the ball 25, 30 times a game.
In high school, you're saying?
Yeah. As the featured back to the guy who had to learn how to lead block and had to learn how to be an offensive lineman, and it was completely different. I just had I had no experience with that. I had no knowledge beforehand what was expected of me. It ended up working out well, but it's not easy. It's terribly trying at times. And I know that Jalen continues to put the time in, the effort, the work, the growth. We see it. Man, this guy has been impressive with different coordinators year after year. I think it's really exciting. Yesterday, I know we're all excited about it. Yesterday proved to me, because I had doubts too. Passing for 100 yards a week doesn't feel good. Right. You hope that it's in there. We were reminded yesterday that we're the best team in the NFL. We, above the Lions, who lost to the Bills in a barn burner, but if we play the Lions in Detroit, if we play the Lions here, yesterday went a long way to determining that, because they went down and we stayed afloat. Not only stayed afloat, but we won by 2 touchdowns against a really good 10-3 Steelers team.
And it could have been more.
We proved to everyone that Jalen proved to everyone who didn't think he could throw it the way he needs to throw it. The team proved to everyone who wasn't sure wasn't sure that we were the best, not just in the NFC, but atop the heap. Let's be honest.
The Eagles really may be the best team in football.
Mahomes is now injured.
I am aware. I'm aware of that.
There are a lot. Everything is shaping up, and I hated the way they were handling practice, and now they're healthier than the rest. So,
although a little dinged up yesterday,
of course, that's a physical Steelers team, and I think that's what happens.
Well, yeah, Landon Dickerson and finish. So, we'll see.
That's some scary stuff. We got a lot to dig into with that, but it is late in the season. To this point, it's been miraculous.
Yeah, no. So look, the bottom line. Well, I don't know if there's a bottom line, but one of the
there's
bottom
so much to celebrate about yesterday.
Yeah, the Eagles took a huge step forward yesterday. I mean, of the 10 wins in a row, this was probably right there with Baltimore as far as most impressive. I mean, I think you could make the case this was a top 2 impressive win of the season. Yeah. I'd still put Baltimore a little bit ahead of it, but I mean, it was really close. I mean, the Eagles whipped the Pittsburgh Steelers yesterday.
They out-physicaled the Pittsburgh Steelers. That is such a huge accomplishment. They went out there, and the Steelers, you got to credit them. They're always that way. But we just did to them what they tried to do to people. We physically, look at the D-line. Look at the way Jalen Carter and Milton Williams played. They bullied the offensive linemen out there. And that felt so great to flip the switch. That team is 10-3 because they have the unity of toughness. And we just out-toughed them.
Yeah, no, there's no question. Look, the Eagles, you go back to last week, and all that was swirling around. And there is a narrative now. They're starting to kind of put out there. It's not media, okay? AJ said what he said. Brandon Graham said what he said. They created their own situation last week, but they dealt with it exceptionally well. I mean, it really felt like, and John had pointed this out a number of times last week, it happened so early in the week, it gave them time, I think, to digest, move through it, and then actually start to practice. It kind of felt like by the time they got together as a team on Wednesday, I don't want to say that it was over, but it was much in the rearview mirror, which I do think helped them. Look, they
so nipped it in the bud. They dove in way before they probably did. It was uncomfortable because
they said that
because of the way Brandon just dove right in, but it did serve an effective purpose.
They're a very mentally tough team. You see that game by game with the way they have a decent amount of game adversity. I mean, if you really think about the way this has gone this year, for the most part this year, they don't score much early. They score a lot more late. They play a lot of close games. They typically salt it away in the fourth quarter with Saquon running the ball. And so they have learned to play through adversity in game. What I think we saw in the last 7 days is the growth of the football team, the growth of Nick Sirianni, the growth of the guys as it relates to another form of adversity, which is team turmoil, which, don't kid yourself, they had. AJ talked yesterday after the game about, the meetings and uncomfortable conversations. And look, they handled it. They did exactly what we want a team to do, to be a team to, in the midst of a little bit of finger pointing, stop the finger pointing. Like, if you notice it happened early last week. They stopped it. They got together. They improved. Jalen obviously played one of his great games of the year. And the defense was awesome again. And they finally beat Russell Wilson. They finally beat that guy.
And it wasn't close.
It wasn't close. The game was not close.
Man.
All right, your phone calls, your reaction to it all. There's a lot of ways to go. 215-592-9494. And again, what a great step on a day when Detroit loses. What a great step for the Birds. Phone calls 215-592-9494. It really could be a Super Bowl year. It really, really, really could be a Super Bowl year. This is one to enjoy today. Jetta Cameron, John Rich, your phone calls all show on 94 WIP.